Can you believe how many troops they have in the capital stretch? Das ist like the Deutsche Demokrat. Yeah, I know it's like the old DDR or East Germany. I don't know what's going to happen. Mein Gott.
Yeah, I know, buddy. 17 is a lot, but none of them should really be a surprise to anybody. Oh, hey, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, a little discussion between Stretch and I, but this evening I'm going to talk to you about the incoming administration and the executive orders and some of the policy positions that he discussed. And we're also going to talk about the stuff that happened in the Pacific Northwest and Denver last night, which is no surprise at all. But before we get started, like, subscribe, share with your friends. The channel's growing pretty good, but the more you share it, the more it'll grow. If you dislike what I'm saying, go ahead and give me a dislike and tell me why in the comments, and we'll have a civil discussion about it. Now, before we get started talking about the new administration, what I would like to say is, after watching the inaugural, I would like to say that to all service members who participated yesterday, but especially to the 3rd Infantry Regiment, the Old Guard, and their commander, Colonel Patrick Roddy, who I remember as the Blue Devil Air, then Devil Air, and the future Red Devil 6. Your soldiers look magnificent out there. They truly represented the best we have to offer. As far as the incoming administration, I really was not surprised by any of the 17 executive orders he signed, re-entering the Paris Climate Accords, the lifting the ban from 7 countries to come to the United States. There's really no surprises there. And whether you agree with them, disagree with them, that's beside the point. The American people spoke. They elected Joe Biden as our president. And it's his prerogative to sign executive orders, as it was Trump's, as it was Obama's, as it was Bush's, and so on and so on. That's their prerogative as the president of the United States. They're allowed to do that. That's within their constitutional rights and their constitutional responsibilities. Moving forward, he talked about the need for immigration reform, and apparently already has a bill he's ready to put forth to Congress. Now, this is going to be unpopular with some of my followers on both YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter, but in all honesty, I would agree with his immigration platform. Creating a pathway to citizenship for 11 to 12 million immigrants in our country, I think, is the right answer. And part of the reason behind it is sheer logistics. Go back to January 6th. There's pictures of people who breached the Capitol who they still haven't found. So how are you going to find 11 to 12 million that we don't have pictures of? It's impossible to find them. Of that 11 to 12 million, 95 to 98% of them are nothing more than hardworking people that want to make a better lives for their families. Where they're at now, most are not tax-paying citizens. Most are being taken advantage of because of the position they're in. So how about we give them a sense of security? We allow them to become tax-paying citizens. Yeah, we're allowing them to pay taxes. That helps benefit these other programs. That increases the tax base. And 2, it gives them protections that as human beings they deserve. If you disagree with me on that, then that's fine. But what I will add to it is, in 23 years in the Army, I saw people who joined the Army with a green card that earned their citizenship. And of those, they have a thing in the military called a chapter, which means you get out early. It could be a medical, it could be because of pregnancy, it could be because you have a disciplinary issue. You're mentally unstable. You are various reasons. Of the people I saw who came in with a green card, I didn't chapter a single one in 23 years. None. I saw the look of pride on their face when they became U.S. citizens. You know what? Now we give these people a chance for the same thing. I love the Constitution. I love my country. I love my time in the military. And what I saw was people earn their citizenship while wearing a uniform, which I want to point out that 0.1% of our population qualifies from a physical, moral, and psychological standard to enter the United States military. Of that, 0.5% enter. Think about that from the standpoint of they're not even citizens and they're choosing to do it. They're going in with a green card. They've earned that citizenship. Now, this 11 to 12 million, if you know anybody involved with poultry or meat packing, ask them to be honest about who works in those plants. I know people who left those plants to go work in a prison. And working in a prison was a better, less strenuous job than in those plants. That's who works there now. So let's give them the rights they deserve. And if you disagree with me, so be it. Dislike my opinions on the January 6th riot already led some people to unsubscribe. I'm okay with that. I'm going to say what I think and give you my honest opinion. But as far as that policy, I am 100% okay with. Moving on, let's get some actual COVID relief. I think what Joe Biden was proposing earlier was a $1.9 trillion bill. I have my issues with it based on a degree in economics. And at some point, I'm going to do a video about inflation and what deficit spending leads to and the current deficit we have. For every dollar of GDP, we're spending $1.30. And I'm trying to come up with a video to truly explain that. But right now, at this moment, what the American people need, what small business needs, is COVID relief and meaningful COVID relief. Not $600. What they need is real money. If you want to keep these businesses closed down, then how, as a country, do we finance them so that they're not closed down forever? If you want to close them down for 14 days or 30 days or 60 days or 100 days, come up with a bill that will protect them so that they don't go out of business forever. The other portion not mentioned, which I would like to see, although with the Democrats controlling the White House, the Democrats controlling the Senate, the Democrats controlling the House, I would like to see true criminal justice reform. We talk about reducing the prison population. A good way to do that could be looking at nonviolent drug offenders. Not the different programs or reducing cash bail or doing away with cash bail, or because you can go through newspapers in any major city that have done away with cash bail, and you will see people that are wanted for violent crimes that were out on bail or bond from committing violent crimes with a history of committing violent crimes. That's not fixing anything. Let's actually come up with a comprehensive plan of criminal justice reform. Now, considering we have one of the authors of the 90s mandatory minimum sentencing bill and a former state attorney general who refused to release people when she knew they were cleared, I don't think we're going to see it in the next 4 years. But they campaign on these platforms, and yet they don't follow them. So by 2022, if there is not some movement for reform, then let's start voting these people out. And in 2024, we can vote out this administration and put in a new one that will actually do things like this. You want to reduce prison population? That's how you do it. And that's a great caveat to move to, yes, under Trump's America, we had riots. We had fires being set. We had windows being broken. Well, what happened last night in Portland, Seattle, and in Denver? Antifa's at it again. Or let me clarify. Antifa/Antifa-like groups. Because if you want to understand why it needs to be said that way, actually read the Antifa handbook. Or if you're busy, then get a subscription to Audible, and no, this is not being sponsored. The Antifa handbook is on Audible. So you can listen to it while you're driving, you can listen to it while you're at the gym. And you'll understand that Antifa you have one group of people saying Antifa needs to be condemned as a group, and other groups or other people saying it's an idea, it's a theory, it's a movement. What you'll learn by actually reading the Antifa handbook is there is no overall hierarchy for Antifa. It is several groups loosely affiliated that may come together as they do in Portland or Seattle to attempt to set fire to an ICE building, or to set Joe Biden for president flags on fire, or to hold up signs saying, we don't want a Biden administration, we want revenge. There is no overlying leadership. You have groups that come together for something like this, but ultimately, that's the closest thing they have to an organization. And actually, I'm going to go deeper into this in another video next week, but it's the Antifa movement is made up of several different groups of Antifa/Antifa-like organizations. So am I going to hold what happened in Portland, Seattle, and Denver last night against President Biden? No, I'm not. As I didn't against President Trump. They cannot control that because they are not members of the Democratic Party. They are a whole different thing, and the way that they have to be dealt with is completely different because they will be there regardless of who's in office. They proved that last night. And if you think this is going to be the end, it's not. They're going to keep going. And if you want to understand why, go ahead and read the Antifa handbook. Because next week there'll be a video of using the Antifa handbook, combining some things with Sal Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. And I'm going to kind of put all these things together for you so that maybe you have a better understanding of how these groups operate. With that, if you like what I have to say, like, subscribe, give me some comments. We can get some interaction going. Tell me in the comments what you think about it. Share with your friends. If you dislike what I have to say, then go ahead and hit dislike and tell me why in the comments. We can talk about it. And if you disagree with my whole opinion of the immigration reform, let me know in the comments and we can talk about it. My opinion is based on spending a lot of time around people who are immigrants and what they come here for. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, have a good evening.